That's one thing from a college coach's perspective of like, dude, this guy gets off and he's nasty. He's nasty.
Yeah. And he's just, again, I say this every time we do an offensive lineman. They're just so hard to find, guys. A guy at this size with this kind of athleticism that has good power already as a junior, you got to remember now, he's got a whole nother offseason this year and a whole nother senior year of tape. So I'm really, really excited about this kid. I think he can be a big time player.
How to Get a College Football Scholarship, a series where we evaluate active high school football players and share with them what division they have the best chance of earning a scholarship at, as well as what they need to do to get to the next division. And joining me today is our head football coach, Brian Overton, who has 15 years of Division I recruiting experience. Brian, let's jump right into this evaluation today. Can you share with us a little bit about the athlete we're evaluating beforehand? And if you're a parent and you would like a professional evaluation of your son, I'll leave a link in the description below where you can see if he meets the criteria. Brian, let's jump into it, man. What do we got?
Yeah, I got a good player today. And
Okay.
that was not a stutter. I was trying to say good 3 or 4 times because I really like this kid. He's not a young, he's a 26 kid, so he's right kind of in the wheelhouse of his recruiting right now. He's offensive lineman, about 6'4", a little over 300 pounds. And to preface it before we get into it, if you watched a lot of these, most of the time I'll show you some plays to move around and things like that. The way his order of his plays were, I didn't necessarily have him moving one to the front or anything like that. The
Yeah.
biggest advice I gave him was to just put his run blocking together first, and then his pass pro behind it to kind of compartmentalize that. So I just want to say that before we jump into it, because on this one I'm just going to kind of let it play, and as the plays go along, I'll talk a little bit about some things he does well. And why I like him so much, and some things that translate to the college game. So I just wanted to give everybody the notes I gave him in his evaluation, because again, typically sometimes I'll have him move specific plays. For this one, I just have him grouping certain plays together. So I'm just going to
Awesome.
get in here and let it run
Wait,
for
wait.
everybody.
So just to be clear, like still keep his pass pro plays in the same order and his run pro plays in the same order. We're just gonna have all the run pro plays first and then the pass
Yep.
pro plays
So I,
right after.
yep. So I just want to. Yep. So those are kind of two different evaluations for offensive linemen. So it's just easier for coaches if you have all your run blocking plays together, and then all your pass sets or pass pros together. It just kind of
That
helps the
makes sense.
evaluation, because obviously they're evaluated differently, in technique and power and things like that. So he'll keep them.
Cool.
He'll keep all the plays he has currently in there. We're just grouping those two together.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yep. So that's why I'm gonna just let it run here. So the first thing, you see right there on that play, the nastiness finishing the blocks. That's what I love about him. You can see him really come out of his hips right there. I'll back that one up for you. That's a really good run block right there. Watch him come out of his hips, get underneath those pads and just run him right out of there, blocking to the whistle. He's a big, strong man. Right now you see him on that little skip pull right there. Again, the nastiness at the end, I love. Little skip pull there in the hole. He's just a big, athletic guy, for a junior. And you can see, I love this right here, even though he's celebrating with his teammate, but you can see the athleticism of him just running. That may seem very, corny to some people, that I'm talking about just watching him run down the field, but it shows off his athleticism. And you can really see him as a big man running. He's got some really nice pull stuff on here. He's got good technique. He's really well coached. I've got some things at the end I'll talk about, that I think he can get even better. That was nice on the combo block, getting up to the second level. And I can just go on and on. His highlight tape's a little over 3 minutes, which is perfect. I mean, he's got every play he's got on there, I think needs to be on there, that shows off a unique characteristic that translate to the college level. And so I just really like the kid a lot for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, it's the explosiveness. And also, you're right. Like, that's one thing from a college coach's perspective of like, dude, this guy gets off and he's nasty. He's nasty.
Yeah. And he's just, again, I say this every time we do, an offensive lineman, just about. They're just so hard to find, guys. A guy at this size, with this kind of athleticism, that has good power already as a junior. You got to remember now, he's got a whole nother off season this year and a whole nother senior year of tape.
Mm,
I'm really, really excited about this kid. I think he can be a big time player.
nice.
And
So
if
let's
I
talk.
was him, and also if I was him, I would be snapping. I told him that, I would be snapping as much as he could, whether it's after practice, before practice, even if he never plays it in a game. When he starts to get recruited, you can tell him, I got reps in practice at center. I can snap, and that makes you much more valuable as an interior player. Being able to play all three positions. But I honestly, guys, the way as athletic as this kid is, I'm not ruling out like right tackle for this kid. The way he moves.
Is he
So
long enough?
I
Is
could
he
see a
long
lot of
enough?
things happening with this kid. He may be a guy that can play almost anything with his athleticism. So it'd be interesting to see where he ends up. At the college level. But I really like this kid's versatility too. That makes you so much more marketable as an offensive lineman.
Do you think he's long enough for tackle though at 6'4"?
Oh, absolutely, because he's just a junior. I mean, you got a kid that big. You got to think, that he's gonna continue to grow. Um, so yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Um, so let's talk about the divisions, right? Like that's the one big reveal that everyone
Yeah.
loves watching these videos for. Is what divisions does he have the best chance of earning scholarships at, football scholarships?
Yeah, so on his evaluation, I told him in his evaluation, I feel just based off his junior tape and watching this, and um, you guys got to see the whole tape this time. Usually, our viewers don't get to see the whole tape, but you got to see the entire tape there. But based on that, just 3 minutes and some change of really good plays on there. I feel really, really comfortable about. He's a scholarship FCS G5 scholarship player right now as a junior. I really believe that. I think he could go help a team like that. Without another year. To be honest with you, because of his power and his size and his athletic ability that he has right now. So I had him in the evaluation, that I gave them. I would heavily, heavily target those schools right now in his outreach and on X, because I think if he gets that film in front of some of those guys in there, I'd be surprised if he didn't get some early action, in those areas. But then I also told him, and I obviously on these guys, just understand we don't know exactly where they are in the process either. You know what I mean? What kind of
Yeah.
conversations they've already had. So I also told him, I would definitely, definitely go to some strategic Power Four camps in the camp circuit. After working this off season and getting better and doing all those things, I also, would not be shocked if he went to a Power Four camp and left with either heavy interest, or if you go to the right one, would not shock me because of all the reasons I've talked about if he left camp with an offer, to be honest with you. But I usually try to give those guys what I feel really, really good about them targeting, where I think they can really, really, get some traction and possibly some opportunities. But then, give them what I think is not out of the realm if it applies to where they can kind of shoot a little above that if the right school, comes along, or if they go to the right camp, may pop for them as well.
Yeah. And what do you think he needs to do to get to the Power 4 level?
I think he's really close, man. I think he's really close. The only things I kind of picked apart on his tape was he does still play a little high, which is kind of common for big men like that in high school. Sometimes it takes them a little while with the flexibility and really learning how to play the position, and getting comfortable in their body. Sometimes he doesn't. It's just not as consistent. When he gets consistently good, when he's pulling or coming off the ball with really good pad level and not getting high, anchoring, becoming a waist bender, not a knee bender, so he can anchor in his pass pro and things like that. But if he does those little things like that, I mean, I'd be shocked. I say all that to say, I'd be really surprised if this kid next year, even probably at the start of the football season or somewhere in there mid-season when he can get that tape out. I would project him as being a solid Power Four scholarship player.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And so for you, you really want him focusing on pad level, bending at the knees, not the waist, uh,
Flexibility, foot speed,
flexibility.
and his pass pro. And he's good at, and he has a solid base for it already. Like he's not bad at it now, But if you want to get up there into the really, big time high school football players, at that position, what I mean, that's what they are. But I will say, in my experience, this is kind of what it starts to look like as a junior. This is a guy that you feel really comfortable that again, we're talking. He's not playing again for 7-8 months, guys. He's got a long time to get better. And if he's doing all that, I just find it hard to believe that he won't be getting some Power Four activity next year.
That's awesome. Well, Asher, I hope it happens, man. I hope he does the outreach because at this point in the game, like he's got to do outreach. He's got to do outreach the right way. He's got to be marketing himself, making sure these coaches that are following him, getting coaches to follow him, and then the coaches that are following him to actually communicate with him, right? And that a lot of that comes from his marketing, his video, and then the outreach strategy and processes that he follows. So I hope he does it
Yeah,
because there's definitely a lot of opportunity here for him. There's no doubt about
big
that.
time upside, big time.
Well, cool. If you enjoyed this video and you want to watch more evaluations just like it, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. We launch these every single Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific. So make sure to tune in and subscribe to the channel if you get value from this. It helps us. So appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one.